I'm really excited today to welcome Sunita Passi to the Beautifully Balanced podcast. Sunita is founder of Ayurvedic training company and award-winning skincare brand called Dosha, based in Nottingham. Sunita is highly regarded in the holistic wellness space as an Ayurvedic and massage expert. She's a TEDx speaker and has been featured in magazines, and excitingly has a book being published later this year called The Doctor Won't See You Now. You may also catch her on Sundays presenting on the BBC Asian radio show. And I have personally had the privilege of undertaking Sunita's Ayurvedic massage training, which was absolutely amazing. So welcome, Sunita, to the podcast.
Thank you, Sam, for having me. Delighted to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining me. So, Sunita, you've spent a few years in the wellness field, but interestingly, you didn't start out your career in this area. So could you tell us a little bit about your story, your journey from being a business journalist to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, I started off life in a different field. I studied journalism. I went on to do a master's in investigative journalism. And then I started a career in business journalism. And this took me off all over the world. So I lived in many different countries over just under a 5-year period. And I was really living the life, So my home would be a fabulous apartment or, hotel room somewhere amazing in the world. And I was interviewing CEOs, MDs, a couple of prime ministers thrown in for good luck. MPs, they were macroeconomic reports of different countries, and that specific role really took me. It was like a deep dive into exploring the world and getting to know all these really interesting personalities. And with that organization, I actually ended up on a project in India. And by that point, I was starting to personally bring wellness into my life. So my first yoga class had been when I lived in Vancouver. And I was feeling a little bit sort of, stressed. And it was before yoga is known as it is today. We're going back to 1999, when it was just raising its head in the West. And I took this class on the ocean front in Vancouver. And so I was starting to become aware of the tools, that I teach today. But then I kind of dropped it, and then I was in Holland, and then I started taking another yoga class. And anyway, long story short, started to integrate some of the aspects of Ayurveda into my life, which I could see help me personally. And then I was on a project in India, and really Ayurveda found me. I walked into a little meditation shop in Hansel Plaza in Delhi. Everyone else was shopping for amazing saris and artifacts and fabulous things for their homes. And I walk into this little meditation shop, and the meditation teacher, the Swami, whatever he said to me in that moment just really resonated. And I jumped on my first meditation retreat the following weekend. And what I realize now is that my soul was really yearning for some growth. From there, my company then sent me to Mumbai. When I was in Mumbai, I started having a lot more Ayurvedic treatment. I ended up in an ashram an hour outside of Mumbai. And I've been having a number of treatments. And then there was just one treatment in particular that really was quite a transformative experience for me. And I just knew in that moment I had to learn more. I thought, I don't know enough about the body, the mind. I need to go deeper. So it was the real connection to this healing system from a very, very authentic experience that actually set me on the path first for my own healing. And then secondly, to actually learn to be able to facilitate as a practitioner. And then obviously that then led to me launching my own academy.
Sounds absolutely wonderful, Sunita. And you mentioned this treatment that had a huge impact on you, and you know how you've moved forwards with your career. What was that treatment? Can you give some details? Was it a full body massage, or what did they do?
Yes, I mean it was an Ayurvedic massage, you know, in a down and out clinic in Pune. Nothing, you know, exotic or luxurious, but we were in nature. You know, it was, you know, the clinics, a lot of the clinics in India they don't have roofs, they're open air, so you can really feel the vibration, you can feel the energy all around you. And also traditionally the Ayurvedic therapists they're completely absorbed into this energetic system in the body. They're not looking at the body as muscles and tissues. They see you as a pure energetic being, and you can literally, I truly believe our hearts connect. You know, I believe, you know, ultimately a lot of sort of different things must have come together energetically for that to happen. But in a nutshell, on a very practical level, it was an Abhyanga massage. So a lot of flowing strokes. The therapists use sesame oil in the treatment, which is really rejuvenative, which is amazing for your skin, especially when you're in hot climates. And it's downward movements, you know, so it's very grounding. So it's really great for us Westerners when we go out to India and we're looking for some stress release. Because you know, often, you know, the sort of the Vata imbalance, the Western imbalances tend to be the imbalance of Vata because of the way that we live our lives, being so much more fast paced. I mean, it's interesting in India, the greatest, if you look at the statistics, the greater imbalance is actually Kapha, because they live more of a sedentary life, and because of the heat, and also because of their diet. So I you know, on a practical level, it was a beautiful massage, but on an ethereal level, on a soul level, it was a deeply healing experience. And I realized in that moment, now that I know what I know about health and well-being and the mind-body connection, is that that I think a lot of things were released in my body. So maybe some things I've been holding on, you know, if I really analyze, you know, maybe some challenge, negativity I've been holding on to in the past, you know, some personal experiences, and it's really it's a deep dive into the energy systems, and as you know, Samantha, you know, the energy systems in the body are far more than we talk about from a Western perspective. You know, we have thousands and thousands of different energy channels in the body, and each one can get blocked or deficient at any time, and it takes work, you know, to really realize and get the flow and the energy and the prana moving again. So yeah, practically it was a beautiful session, and I'd say energetically it's, you know, the therapist was working on me in a very spiritual way, but also it was her energy. It was also her energy that she brought in to that treatment. So I feel very blessed, you know.
Yeah, what a fantastic experience. And I can see some of the things that you were talking about now, just then, that come through in the massage training that I did with you as well, which was, yeah, it's really inspiring to hear, you know, how authentic it is as well. So it's lovely. So you mentioned about the mind-body connection, and I know that you're really passionate about supporting people in this and with their different emotions in order to be the best version of themselves possible. And I know that you are really interested in inner and outer health. So I'd love for you to define to us a little bit about what you mean, Sunita, by inner and outer health.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a concept within itself, isn't it? Inner and outer health. What does that mean? If I really break it down, I can break it down into 10 points. So if we have a look at the inner experiences first, if we focus on things like learning the basics of breathing, so actually paying attention to the breath, and you know, because this is the flow of consciousness in and out of our body. Also from the Ayurvedic perspective, understanding our dosha, so discovering our dosha, understanding that we are unique individuals, we're not copy and paste. You know, trying to model that from an Eastern perspective is just completely ridiculous. So really respecting our individuality, and that's where the Ayurvedic system has done so well, in the sense it's given us this concept of dosha, of body type. Also embracing meditation. So meditation is a huge system within itself. There's many different techniques. In the West, we tend to focus on mindfulness, which is where we're able to pay absolute sort of mindful attention to our breath, to our experiences. It gives us a focus, but actually mindfulness is part of the meditation system. You know, meditation is a huge system. From the Ayurvedic perspective, we learn breathing techniques from the under a system called pranayama. Prana means life force, breath. Yama is the extension of that life force and breath. So also inner practices would be, still we need physical activity, and that's still important from the energetic perspective. But there we would consider things like yoga, which is an inner practice. And then also tweaking our diet according to our body type. So really understanding the qualities of foods, which foods best suit us, which aren't so great for us. So that's kind of that's the inner, you know, they're the 5 areas that I would say think about, look at, and learn more about. And then the outer I've also put this into 5 categories. So using your senses wisely. So, you know, again, Ayurveda is, we look at health from a micro, which, you know, we can consider everything we're doing on a micro level, to the macro as well, everything that's happening around us. So we have a tendency to overuse our senses. When we simplify things, when we simplify life, we actually are more consciously aware of how we're using our senses as well. Now that might be the conversations that we have, it might be the amount of radio or TV that we're absorbing, it might be the books that we're reading. There's so many ways that shows up. Also outer is also understanding kindness grows. So being present in our heart, not closing our heart off, even with all the crazy things, you know, that go on in our lives and the different things that we experience and the fallouts that we might have over here, or, you know, maybe the fact that things aren't going so well over here. Don't close your heart off, you know, because you know, it's an energy exchange. You know, life is an energy exchange, and that's how we also are able to extend, you know, the qualities within us. You're doing all this, if you're doing all this wonderful work on your breathing, and you're meditative, and you're eating well, and you're doing your yoga, you know, and you're tweaking your diet, then obviously, you know, we want to extend that vibration, and we extend that vibration through the outer. Also being sensual with yourself, again, another outer experience. So self-care, super important. Self-massage, having boundaries, knowing when to take time out, creating lovely environments around you. You know, all of these things are important and excite us. You know, they excite the spirit. Serving something bigger than yourself, that's a big one, because, you know, it's when you're in the thick of it with life, and you've got food to put on the table, and you've got kids to pick up from school, and maybe you don't have some big project in your life, and that's certainly not what it's about. But when you extend yourself from the I, you know, to the we, again, vibrationally, that shifts your energy, and that will show up in your health as well. It gives you purpose, you know, it gives you a sense of growth, gives you a reason to wake up and take another breath. We are living on this planet all together, and so we can get very spiritual, and if we go that road, then then we start to look at the concepts of oneness, and but in a nutshell, even serving something bigger than yourself is wholeheartedly serving your family, is wholeheartedly supporting your community. It shows up in many different ways. And then my 10th point is I as an outer experience, is also keeping a wellbeing journal, because it's really good, again, with our Western minds, how we can get so overwhelmed by the way that we live our life, and all the the activities that we have, that actually just writing down how we feel, writing down maybe sensations that we're experiencing, writing down the negative stuff, the stuff that is we just need to get out of our heads, again, there's kind of like there's an energetic release when you do that. So inner and outer well-being, that's how I look at it. And I would say, with Dosha, with our products, that very much fits into being sensual with ourselves and loving ourselves first, because ultimately by loving ourselves first, everything else really does fall into line.
Wow, what a fantastic overview there. So many things to consider and think about, Sunita, and the inner, the outer health. It sounds like it would all complement each other so well. Thank you for sharing such wonderful insight there for the listeners. And I can certainly see some extra bits that I could apply into my own life, and
good
with some of the practices that I'm doing as well. So it's all good inspiration.
Yeah.
So
and that's what it is, isn't it? It's as wellbeing facilitators, that's what we want to do. We want to inspire, we want to encourage people to join us on this path. We want them to encourage to experience the great things that we experience by doing all these things. And I think that's really what it is, but it's also simplifying it, keeping it simple and not being overwhelmed. It might be that you try, I gave a list of 10 things there, start with one and actually see over a 3-month period, really go for it, do a deep dive, really learn it well, integrate it into your life, and check in with yourself 3 months later and see, don't take my word for it, just do it and see, has it made a difference to the quality of your well-being? Does that work for you? So it's
no greater test than trying something out and feeling the benefits for yourself, is there?
Absolutely.
Lovely. I commonly hear many people struggling with stress, having issues with sleep, suffering from back pain, particularly also eye strain at the moment, with a lot of things being more online. And unfortunately, chronic diseases certainly seem more common these days. Could you share perhaps a couple of examples with us, Sunita, about how focusing on inner and outer health can really support people's well-being and healing?
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's it. Yeah. So again, this all it really comes down to ultimately loving ourselves and filling up the tank first, because then everything else does fall into line. So I'll give you, if I give you like case studies, there's a dear friend of mine. She is a fitness instructor, and she's always very much focused on the outer, the outer. And does everything right, really has had an incredible career, has an incredible following, really supports her students, really is completely immersed into her subject. And she was reaching menopause. And despite, you know, a 10-year period plus of looking after her body in the way that she knows how, she experienced the most painful time over this period. And so I just share that with you, because if I look at it from the Ayurvedic perspective, and I've actually written a chapter on this for a book that looks at the menopause from different systems. One of the things that one of the things that I would say is it's one thing doing all, focusing on the outer, but if you're not healing yourself from a from a really cathartic perspective, these things will come up. They'll keep coming up, and you'll still feel pain, and you'll still have that shoulder issue, and you'll still have the hip problem, because ultimately these experiences are deeply embedded into our energy systems. So at some point in our life, we have to make a decision that we are going to release them, and we're going to really fill our bodies up with the flow of prana and energy and life force, and really focus on letting that and helping that circulate. So when I speak to clients who have chronic pain, or or they're struggling with stress or sleep, one of the core areas I actually have a look at is really life's experiences, and is there something emotionally that they have experienced that is still that still hasn't been released, they're still holding on to, and that negativity in the body is showing up in the sense of certain symptoms, because it will, it won't go away. It doesn't matter how much you try and bury these things, they will show up at some point. And actually, and science has shown this as well, women who really work on their own healing through their life generally will go through that the menopause period really with very little symptoms, with any problems. But those that still haven't faced reality in some sense, in some of the things that they have experienced in life, will have a much more tougher time. Now, Western science doesn't talk about that, but these are things that we talk about from the Eastern perspective. So that's where we start to really see the mind and the emotions are completely connected to the body. One doesn't live without the other, and we can focus on the physical, and we can focus on our bodies, and we can continue to lose weight, and we can, do the next, the next diet, and and we can go and do our exercise in the gym and pump weights, but ultimately if we're also not focusing on the inside, we are still going to experience symptoms. And I think it's the same with the yoga, Sam, isn't it? Really, I would imagine this is the kind of thing that comes up with you with your yoga classes, when you're working with your clients.
Yeah, there's definitely the physical aspects, and then the energetic aspect to it as well. And I think with yoga, a lot of people initially come for the physical. They're concerned perhaps about what their poses look like, and how that will perhaps make their body look, for example. Whereas I think as you get into the practice, people start to realize the inner work that it can give, and it does open up the energy channels as well for that healing. And occasionally someone will say to me, oh, I was stood, say, in Warrior One, and I just felt this like whoosh of something come over me. And I felt more uplifted and lighter afterwards, which is really interesting, thinking that those energy shifts are going on. So I've done some chakra workshops, and we talk about the energy a little bit more there. So it's really great to have different tools
different
help
tools
that healing to take place.
And that's it, the healing
massage and other things.
Yeah, that's right. It's a number of different things. It's wonderful, isn't it? And that's the great thing about having a toolbox of all these amazing things. And ultimately self-love, it reaches our hearts, you know, and we're able to release and you know, so any obstacles that might be preventing us from having, you know, the best health possible, we can conquer that, you know, we can conquer that. But it might be that you have to try a number of different tools. You know, so that's something that I've seen, you know, with someone near and dear to me. I've seen it with, you know, if I look at male clients as well. If I think of one example of a client who is in his 70s, he's retired, he's had a wonderful career, you know, a really, really prosperous life, has a beautiful family, but even despite, you know, despite on the outside, you know, everything looking hunky-dory, you know, this client was experienced quite melancholy, you know, and there's almost a sadness there. And so when I started to work with him, and we were really focusing on the breathing and the mindfulness, so that we could really go deeper into the energetic field, into the, you know, the nadis, and have a look at what's going there, that you know, that it started to become apparent that he'd struggled with his past, and though having had a wonderful, you know, prosperous life, hadn't really found true purpose in all of that as well. So it's going to creep up. It's never going to go away until you look at it. You know, until you really look at it, deal with it, you know, bring the changes in, whatever they may be, and hey presto, your body feels alive. It feels amazing. And sometimes you don't even need to know what it is. You know, I one of the you know, I like taking myself off and doing Vipassana, which is a 10-day silent meditation retreat, and the last one was quite a few years ago now, and I went in because I wanted a detox. I wanted 10 days off, and I wanted to go deeper into myself. And I did it over the summer, so the weather's really fantastic, so it means in between the sessions you can literally, your body can detox out in the sun. And I kid you not, Sam, you know, I didn't go in trying to deal with anything, or trying to look at anything, trying to find a better version of myself, none of those things. And day 7, I had a huge cathartic release, and I was in absolute tears. And to this day, I can't tell you what that was, but, you know, I know something was shifting. And when I came out of it, I felt lighter, I felt brighter. You know, even my family said, God, Sunita, whatever you've done, your skin's fantastic. So it's sometimes it's not even obvious, but we're all a work in progress. You know, we're all a work in progress. We're all walking each other home, as many of the spiritual teachers say. So.
Oh, I love that. I sometimes say that in yoga about coming back home to yourself. I don't know, just those words, that idea of walking back home. I just love it. There's just something really calm and soothing about it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Your skincare brand, Sunita, let's talk about that, because I've been using your lovely massage oils with my clients, which they really love. I also use every day your skin cleanser on my face. I'm using the Pitta face cream because I get a bit of inflammation. So it's all really wonderful natural products. And can you share with us a little bit more details around this skincare and why natural skincare is important to help our health and our well-being?
So this is, you know, what's more of us are becoming aware of what we put into our bodies. I mean, we have a statistic on the Dosha website actually, that the average woman slathers 10 different types of products onto her body every single day. You know, so you just think about all the, if you're not using natural products, how many chemical ingredients you're actually pushing into your skin's tissues as well. So there's a couple of things here. There's the quality of the ingredients, because I look at skincare, body care the same as I look at anything I eat, you know, in the same way that if I wouldn't consider putting it in my mouth, then I don't really want to put it on my body, because, you know, it's that process of elimination. I only want the best, and the best ingredients that are going to fuel my health, support my health and well-being, and make my skin, you know, support my skin in looking glossy and glowy and good. So there's the therapeutic aspects of formulations. So it's really important to us. All of our oils are 100% natural. Our skincare is about 85% natural. Very difficult to make 100% because you have to have binding ingredients. So this is the reality. So there are some, but again, those binding agents that we use are suitable for natural skincare. And then our bathing products are also pretty much over 80% natural as well. So we're as close, we are 100% natural with the oils, 100% with our balm, and then, you know, over 85% with skincare, over 80% for bathing products. And so therapeutically, it's important. From a self-care perspective as well, research recently conducted by money.co.uk, I just wrote this statistic down, showed that buying an eyeshadow palette or a scented candle or a quality skincare product can boost your mood by over 60%. Which, you know, is also really interesting. So, you know, we've got, if I look at my mother, you know, she'll still, not now because she uses Dosha, but certainly when I was young, she would have gone to the supermarket to buy a face cream, and it would have been a basic face cream. But now, you know, again, she's having the experience of having a really lovely product that not only has natural ingredients in it, but also we work with essential oil. So you have a very beautiful experience by using our products as well. So, you know, for those of us who know this, it's not news, but those of us who maybe haven't looked at the data or just how much of a difference, you know, a quality product from the sense of therapeutic ingredients as well as a wellness experience make, I think, you know, it's time to consider the purchases that you're making. But with our products, it's more than that, because it's also the providence. We're a small business. We import. My grandfather, who you can see in the picture behind me, was an Ayurvedic doctor in India, no longer with us, and he had a clinic in the Punjab in the north. I was 7 years old when I first went to visit my grandparents in India. And I was really blown away. I mean, I remember sitting in his clinic and he just had, you know, a queue of patients queuing up for his lotions and potions and formulations. It was phenomenal. And we have a lot to learn in the West, you know, in the sense of promoting herbalism and natural medicines. And he really made a name for himself, you know, in this area. So people were traveling to see him. And so when I think about our products, it's also, we are importing our herbs from small farms in India. You know, so also the way the plants are grown, they're wild crafted, because small farmers, that's what they just cultivate they cultivate the soil and they let the plant grow. So they're not adding any pesticides, or, you know, these aren't big corporate farms. So I think that's really important. The locations go back generations, you know, so again, it's a sense of supporting small families. We also, and also my roots, you know, and we can see now also, you can see why the Indian farmers, you know, not to get too political, but also you can see why the Indian farmers are protesting in India at the moment. I don't know if you've been following that story, Samantha, but, you know, it's oh, well, it's all against this corporate agri power. It's not just about their livelihoods, it's about exactly what we're talking about, consciousness and the providence of what they do, and how important all these links are. They're really kind of, so this way of life is at risk, but also it's how our products get to us. We do two big deliveries on herbs a year, so we're not backwards forwards, and that's a bit of an effort, because then you need more space for storage, but it's important that we're not getting into too much of the carbon footprints. But another aspect of location also is I think it's, so one thing is the products and how they're created, with love and care, but then also it's how they're being distributed. So you've trained with me. I've trained over 1,200 therapists now, many of them working around the UK, and these are therapists. People can go to them for a consultation, they can go to them for advice, they can go to them for healing. At the moment, it might be that they can't have a massage with them, but many of them are now trained in mindfulness and meditation techniques as well, so they can connect with the therapist in that way. So, when you think about our skincare, it's more than just the skincare. It's the whole chain of activity. So when you think about when you buy an oil from us, or you buy it from a practitioner that's trained with us, and it gives you the best sleep that you've had, for days, it's you can't quantify that into just that purchase, because everybody along the chain is earning something. Everything's created with love and care, and so I think what's happened in the West is we've moved away from the bigger picture. We've just got used to businesses that churn things out as a copy and a paste model. We're used to purchasing our products in the supermarket or by big businesses. But when we actually think about the connections that we also make through our purchases as well, that's also really important to me. So it's making fabulous skincare that's therapeutically the best it can be, and also a luxurious experience for you, and gives you that self-care boost and boosts your mood. But also, it's the whole, it's how we buy what we buy, and how we also distribute it that matters. So it's a big conversation, really. I think it's and it's very easy to get political, but I think it all comes down to us as individuals actually having more awareness about what we buy, why we buy it, doing a bit of research, and supporting businesses that have committed to developing products in this way, and also committed to that whole chain that's involved as well, and not compromising that. So I think it's all important. Yeah, certainly sounds like a well-considered approach to your skincare, which is really wonderful. And I think for me, you talked about buying things at the supermarket. A few years back, I used to buy all my products at the supermarket, but now, buying more luxurious natural products, I think I really enjoy using them that little bit more. And I was never that good with my skincare routine. I would do certain steps of it and then I'd forget for a few days. But I think because I look forward to using the products, and like you say, there's a different feeling because there's those connections behind it. Then it's a totally different experience. And I'm always there putting my creams on and everything. And your miracle balm, I'm putting that on various times a day because my lips have never felt so good. Right. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, over the winter that has saved my lips, taking the dog out.
And also I should just say, actually, what I didn't say is also it's all the formulations are formulated around dosha. So for you, it's definitely the pitta formulations are really good for you. So, you know, so pitta formulations have more soothing ingredients in them. So we've got things like lavender, we've got things like neem, which are more anti-inflammatory, more cooling on the body. With the vata formulations, it's better for more dry skin, also more relaxing. You know, so you're going to find ingredients that really help in that way. And then kapha is more energizing. So whether that be for combination skin to really boost the system, or whether that be with the oils, you're going to find more zesty ingredients in there. So yeah, that's something I think is important. Yeah, as you've said, it's pitta helps with inflammation. And then the body oils are very soothing, very cooling as well. So yeah, the whole concept of Ayurveda is weaved into everything that we develop and create.
Yeah, and I just love the individualness of it, tailored with the different oils, the creams, the lifestyle tips, everything, seeing the person as they are rather than the copy and paste, like you say, for everyone. I think that's made one of the biggest impacts for me, and why I really love Ayurveda. Sunita, the Beautifully Balanced podcast is all about empowering people to find more balance in today's hectic world. Are there any top tips? You've already shared a lot with us, so I'm putting you on the spot, but do you have any other top tips that you would like to share with the listeners about them finding more balance?
Yes, so gosh, I mean, there's many things that we can be doing. I think the most important thing is not try, if you're feeling out of sorts, not try and do everything all at once, otherwise you won't do anything. It's better to integrate one thing into your life and really start to feel and experience the difference at that core level, you know, you know. So I think if you're really feeling out of balance, by taking a breathing break, you know, and just noticing any kind of physical sensations in your body, maybe you can even name one of those feelings, is a really, really good place to start. It's a really good place to start, you know, and then that will encourage you to join the path of actually learning more about your breath, how you breathe, and starting to bring in some, you know, general breathing techniques. You know, it might be that you practice for 10 minutes a day, but you'll know whenever you feel out of sorts, you can go to that tool, you can go to that technique. You're not reliant on anyone, you know, you're not handing your authority over to someone. You know, it's you can cultivate, it's an art, you know, you can cultivate that. So I think that's the thing. I think start with one thing first, you know, really embed that into your life. And when you embed that into your life, specifically, you know, breathing, your awareness starts to expand anyhow. And you start to then think, oh, am I eating right? You know, maybe I should take a look at my diet. Is it a clean diet? Am I putting things in my body that are causing me to be more aggravated? How about my relations? You know, how am I connecting with people in my life? You know, the awareness just starts to naturally expand. So, you know, everything happens from within us first. You know, if we're struggling, once we take our energy and we connect with ourselves from within, you know, we bring more peace into ourselves, we'll start to see that awareness expand, and it will just help us, yeah, in today's hectic world, basically. Absolutely. So I think that would be my top tip, because I think it's easy to have lists and lists, but really start with really one thing and embed it completely into your life.
Yeah, possibly that one thing that excites you, that you're going to look forward to doing, that's easy to do, then it makes it much more easier to implement.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I was listening to a podcast recently, really good one, and they were talking about the difference between the soul and the spirit, you know, in the sense of the soul being an incarnation of all your experiences, and whatever your belief system is, but certainly your soul is carrying your experiences, whereas spirit being that element of you that gets excited, that like the spirit soars. So yeah, whatever turns your spirit on, bring that in, embed it, and you'll start to see changes.
Yeah, definitely. So coming to you personally, Sunita, thinking about your own well-being, I ask all the guests this question. Yeah. What helps you to stay balanced in today's busy world?
My life is very simple. If I look at the way I live my life, I enjoy the simple pleasures. I don't have children, so I'm not having to do the school run and homeschooling, and so I have a lot of time for myself as well. I like all the simple pleasures. I love interiors. I love changing rooms around. Even with our training facility, I love having a look at kind of new towels, and I like it's what floats my boat is sort of simple luxury. I like quality rather than quantity, and I think enjoying simple pleasures, so and also I prioritize certain relationships in my life as well. Having spent so many years abroad, that really made me realize how important it was to keep the connection with those that I have that sort of energetic connection with, and whose company I really love, and how it fills my heart up, and I feel so happy. So I think state of mind, enjoying sort of simple pleasures, definitely the importance of living healthy. That's really important to me, and enjoying certain relationships. There's kind of like a handful of people in my life that I see quite regularly, and it fills me up. So it's not complicated at all. And I think we can overcomplicate things. We can have huge lists and to-do lists, and we can always be striving. And I think even the other day I was having this conversation with someone, and and I said, we were talking about actually kind of our own energy and vibration, and we were talking about they just upgraded their car. And I haven't upgraded my car during lockdown. Not to say that I wouldn't like to, but it was this whole sort of conversation around the difference between sort of desire and joy, and actually what is it that's driving you. And it was, and I think that's it. It's enjoying, really enjoying simple pleasures, but quality over quantity. It might be that actually that is what's going to give you the joy, changing the model, but spending a bit of time thinking about, well, what is the qualities that actually are enhancing my sense of well-being, and helping me stay more balanced. So yeah, all that and more, and state of mind as well. Yeah, state of mind.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing all your great inspiration, stories and information with us, Sunita. Would you like to share with the listeners any contact details about where they could follow you or get in touch, or have maybe more with the products?
Yes. So I would be delighted to offer your wonderful viewers a discount. So we've set a discount up. So if you go to the Dosha website and you'd like to try some Dosha, then if you use the code SPRING 2021, you'll get a 15% discount. So that I've set that, the expiry date is the 5th of May. So that's www.try-dosha.co.uk. So Try Dosha is my platform for our training academy and also for all our fabulous products. And then I also have my own teaching platform where I educate, and that's where you can connect with me on more deeper information about Ayurveda and holistic health. And that's www.sunitapassi.com. Well, actually, it's better to follow the Instagram or Facebook for Sunita Passi. And then all of our details are on either of the platforms. You'll be able to connect with us that way. But like I said, Try Dosha is all of our training for therapists and practitioners and products, and the Sunita Passi platform is education, is teaching, is knowledge based. So I would be delighted to see your viewers on either of the platforms. Yeah, do follow. And all the normal social, you know, we've got Instagram and Facebook on each side. We've also got a YouTube channel for Try Dosha. So that's Try Dosha Skincare, and there's lots of good videos on there. We've also hosted some live events ourselves, which have really good thought leaders, you know, who have facilitated those sessions. So you can get them all on the Try Dosha YouTube channel.
Yeah, I loved the David G session. That was really great. And I shared that with a few friends. Yeah, really fantastic.
Brilliant.
So lots of places to keep in touch with Sunita. And thank you so much for the discount code. That was a nice surprise. So hopefully the listeners will make the most of it and give your amazing products a try.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Sam. And yeah, you enjoy the sunny day. It's amazing out there.
Yeah,
fabulous.
You too, Sunita. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me today.
All right, you take care.
Yeah, take care. Thank you.
Thanks, bye.